Good morning. I want to welcome you to KQKI Live broadcast. As we come to you live from
you, Brady.
There you go. As we come to you live from the Louisiana State Capitol. Today is the Republican Electoral College of Louisiana that is going to officially nominate or elect President-elect Donald J. Trump as the 47th president, and J.D. Vance as the 50th Vice President of the United States of America. This is something we've never covered before, Brian, and the reason why we are here is because the chairman of the Louisiana Electoral College is Christian Gill from Patterson.
That's right.
He is the chairman and at-large member of the Electoral College. As a matter of fact, if you noticed on your voting machine that Christian's name was on every ballot, every voting machine around the state as the at-large voting member for the state of Louisiana for the Republican Electoral College.
Yeah, you could actually see Christian, I believe.
Yep, he's right there on the dot.
Yeah.
Yep. And they're going to open up. It's going to last about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're going to nominate, of course, formally elect President-elect Donald Trump.
It's all part of the process, right?
It is.
And it goes to Congress, correct?
Correct. And what's going to happen, they're going to cast their ballots. They're going to seal them in envelopes. And on January 6th, the U.S. Senate will officially vote or to certify. They're going to certify. As a matter of fact, Kamala Harris, ironically, will preside over the Senate that day as the Senate president.
Right.
And the envelopes they will seal here today will be the ones she will open on January 6th. And then 2 weeks later, Donald J. Trump will be sworn in on Inauguration Day as the 47th president. And Christian Gill
would be correct.
And J.D. Vance, he will be sworn in as the vice president, the 50th vice president of the United States. We have a total of 8 electors today. There are 6, 1 for each congressional district, and then 1 for each Senate district. And then Christian Gill today, he is, of course, representing one of those Senate districts as the at-large member.
They are beginning to take their seats, Brady, so this is going to start here rather quickly.
Yep. Want to thank Christian for inviting us. And he had texted me a few weeks ago, and he asked that I give him a call. And he said they usually don't get a lot of media attention for this. But due to the historical nature of this election, he had asked that we come and cover it, bring the coverage to you, because, of course, it's been since the 1800s, I believe, since a president had left office, skipped a term or so, and then come back and won election. And so this is historical. Well, we're not the only media outlets today. There are several media outlets here representing several different media outlets throughout the state. And I'm not sure if we're the only one broadcasting it live, but there are several TV stations and print outlets here today. I want to thank our sons, Braden Borrell and Matthew Protich, for their assistance taking the trip up to Baton Rouge this morning. We're going to pay them by feeding them. I think they're happy with that. But them being able to see history in the making today. I've always wondered myself about the process, how it worked. So we were very anxious to witness this and bring it to you. Several family members are here. Christian Gill's family is here. His wife and some of his children are here. Very well dressed. So I want to thank you again. Once again, I am Brady Borrell, along with Brian Protich, Braden Borrell, and Matthew Protich.
If everybody could take their seats, the electors up here on the dais, and the alternate electors down here right beneath the dais.
That is Secretary of State Nancy Landry, who will preside over the events for today.
Welcome, everyone, to the official meeting of the Louisiana Electoral College. I'm Nancy Landry, Louisiana's 45th Secretary of State, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all here today. To open today's events, please rise and join me in quiet reflection and prayers for all the brave men and women of our military who have done so much to protect our freedoms, including the right to vote and the right to assemble publicly as we do here today. Amen. And now remain standing, please, and Dr. Michael Sprague will provide today's invocation.
Will you join me in prayer? Oh God, we remember this Christmas season that unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government will be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Thank you, God, that in your providence and sovereignty we were born at this time and in this place we call the United States of America, a unique country conceived in liberty and built on the twin pillars of virtue and faith, where basic rights come not from government or a king, but from you, O God, the rights of freedom of religion and speech and assembly and the press, that we were endowed by our Creator with certain unalienable rights, life and liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Thank you, God, for our leaders who wholeheartedly believe these things and protect these rights. We're grateful for our Governor, Jeff Landry, and for our Secretary of State, Nancy Landry, and their teams and staffs who have administrated a system of voting that has been excellent and orderly and filled with integrity and honoring the principle of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Thank you today for electors who vote and represent the will of the people. Each elector has been raised up for such a time as this. May they feel the weight of that calling and the joy of their service. Would you bless them and keep them? Cause your face to shine upon them. Be gracious to them and give them your peace. Our God, would you bless our country and our state of Louisiana? We are believing that our best days are ahead with your help. And we pray in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Sprague. And now, please remain standing, and members of Scouting America, led by Michael DeCasas, will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Now come forward.
I pledge allegiance to the flag, the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and you may be seated now, please. I want to recognize the elected officials here. We have several legislators who've joined us today. If y'all could please stand and let us recognize you, and any other elected officials who are in the room. Thank you for being here today at this historic time. And before we begin our official business, I'd like to make brief comments about our purpose today. When Louisiana joined the Union as a state in 1812, we joined a compact of people from every imaginable background, spread across an entire continent, united by one common cause, our independence. We came from different backgrounds, different cultures, and even spoke different languages in some cases. But this new union was founded on the guiding principle that all men are created equal, and that our rights are endowed by our Creator, not our government. Each of us can trace our roots to the farthest flung corners of the earth. In the old world, the circumstances of our birth would have dictated our status and station in life. But in the United States, we are equal as citizens. By extension, every state within our union has that same equality. Every state was its own nation, which handed part of its sovereignty to the Union. In return, they were all promised equality under the law and political parity in our federal government. It's an acknowledgement that our federal government derives its powers from the people and the 50 constituent states. It's why the states and the District of Columbia held their own elections rather than a singular national vote. It's why each state has 2 United States senators, and it's precisely why we have the Electoral College. The framers of our Constitution believed that no one state should have such overwhelming sway that smaller states are beholden to the whims of their larger counterparts. The compromise that led to the adoption of the Electoral College was how states like Connecticut and Rhode Island could make their voices heard in 1788. That year, Alexander Hamilton wrote in Federalist No. 68 that popularity may alone suffice to elevate a man to the first honors in a single state, but it will require other talents and a different kind of merit to establish him in the esteem and confidence of the whole Union. The Electoral College requires candidates for the office of the president to have a broad political and geographical appeal if they have any hope for victory. It blunts the effect that large population centers would have on a theoretical national popular vote, and it tempers the passions and quick-shifting opinions of the day that would invariably hold sway in a direct election. Without it, presidential candidates would spend all of their time and resources trying to win the favor of people living in major cities on the coast. In 1788, that was Norfolk, Charleston, and Boston. Today, it is Los Angeles and New York City. This system is why Louisiana can still make its voice heard 212 years after joining the Union. So today, I'm thankful our founding fathers had the presence of mind to give states in the heart of America the means to advocate for our interests, to be able to field candidates who will govern with us in mind, and to be able to make our voices heard within our great country's political chorus. I am thankful for yet another successful Louisiana election. Our elections really are the envy of the rest of the country. We had all of our returns in before the end of the night, within 3 hours, no less, whereas some other states were still counting ballots 2 weeks later. That sort of speed and accuracy is why we have such faith in our electoral process, and it's thanks to the hard work of public servants like our Commissioner of Elections, Sherry Wharton-Hatsky, the 64 clerks of court, and registrars of voters, and our dedicated election staff in the Department of State. That's something we as Louisianians should never take for granted. This is a fundamental component of good governance, and we get it right every time. That speed and accuracy is how we learned that not only did President Donald J. Trump win Louisiana in a landslide, he actually increased his share of the vote from 2020. The president-elect won our nation's 60th presidential election in a monumental victory in the Electoral College with a clear and resounding mandate that from the American people. They want a return to normalcy. Now every presidential campaign is contentious. Even statewide races can get heated with political rhetoric. But on a day like this, when we are gathered here to witness this time-honored civic ritual, I'm reminded that we are all Americans. At the end of the day, regardless of political affiliation or who you voted for, we are all on the same team, working toward a brighter future for our families. So it's my hope that as we conduct another peaceful transition of power, we all pause to remember that we are truly one nation and one people under God. Again, thank you all for being here. May God bless the state of Louisiana, and may he continue to bless the United States of America. And at this time, we'll move on to some housekeeping duties. Each elector was mailed a copy of the minutes from the 2020 Electoral College meeting, and it's in your packet, and it looks like this. We also have in your packets a tabulation of parish election returns for the 2024 presidential electors, and it looks like this. It's the big one like this. And finally, we have the credentials of the presidential electors, also known as the Certificate of Ascertainment, and it's bound in a blue binder like this. And I ask that all of these documents displayed today be made a part of the official record. Next, we will conduct the official roll call of the presidential electors. When I call your name, please step forward to be recognized and receive your commemorative pens, immortalizing your participation as a 2024 elector, as well as your state commission certificate. Christian Gill. Randolph August Bazette III. Raymond M. Griffin, Jr. Lloyd A. Harsh. Luke Anthony Dupree. Matthew K. Philip Jeffrey Bedwell. Carl W. Benedict. And now, electors, if you will please stand so I can administer your oath of office. Collectively, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States and the Constitution and laws of this state, and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge and perform all the duties incumbent upon me as a presidential elector, according to the best of my ability and understanding, so help me God. Congratulations to the 2024 presidential electors for the state of Louisiana. Please be seated. And I also want to recognize at this time our alternate electors. They're sitting down in front here, and that is Roger Villery Jr. If you want to stand, I can't see you, but if you want to stand when I call your name, Roger Villery Jr., Laura Matisse France, Charlie Buckles, Laura Newbert, Rosie Brummel, Bob Morgan, Gina Gore, and Robbie Dyer. And thank y'all for serving as alternates. Each of you will find in front of you your oaths of office, which you should sign at this time, and staff will collect them from each of you. And electors, you should also sign your travel authorization forms, which are also in the packet in front of you for staff to collect. All right, and my last item of business before I turn this event over is to call for the nomination of a chairperson for the Louisiana Electoral College. Is there a nomination for chair of the 2024 Louisiana Electoral College from the electors? Elector Bazette? Thank you. Elector Randolph Bazette has nominated as chairperson for the Louisiana Electoral College Christian Gill. Do I have a second? Elector Raymond Griffin has seconded. Are there any more nominations? Seeing none, we'll close the nominations. All those in favor of Elector Christian Gill as chairperson for the 2024 Louisiana Electoral College respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations, Chairman Christian Gill. As a reminder, the chairman and the secretary of this electoral college must sign the minutes before leaving the building today. Also, copies of the minutes from today will be sent to all electors tomorrow as required. It's been my pleasure as your Secretary of State to oversee this portion of today's historic electoral college. And at this time, I'm going to turn the meeting over to your newly elected chairman to continue the official business of the day. Chairman Gill.
Thank you, Secretary Landry. I appreciate it.
Your mic on.
It's on. I need to speak a little louder. We must now select an elector for the position of co-chair, vice chair for the Louisiana's 2024 Electoral College. Is there a nomination from the electors for the position of? Do I have a second? Second. Mr. Lloyd seconds it. Are there any other nominations? All in favor of Matt Kay for position of vice chair, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, congratulations, Mr. Kay. Next is, Secretary. Next we have to elect a secretary. Do we have any nominations for secretary?
Chairman, I would like to nominate Luke Frazier.
Do we have any seconds? Any other nominations? In that case, we vote. All in favor? Aye. No opposed? Congratulations. So, do we do our roll call now, or do I wait? We're going to go at ease for the next 8 minutes until noon, at which time we will begin casting our ballots for president and vice president.
And want to thank you again for joining us. We are coming to you live from the Senate chamber of the Louisiana State Capitol in Baton Rouge, where the Republican Electoral College is about to cast the ballots to officially elect Donald J. Trump as the 47th President of the United States, as well as J.D. Vance as the 50th Vice President of the United States. It is now 11:53 p.m. We're going to have a little dead time because apparently they have to wait until noon. We were not aware of that. They have to wait until noon to...
At this time, Mr. Lloyd
Here we go.
would like to get up and say a few words.
You may be wondering why we are waiting till noon to cast our votes for president. As part of the Electoral College, the process is that the electors in each state gather in the capitals of their respective states and cast their votes at noon. And so since we are not quite at noon, that's why we are waiting until 12 o'clock. So it's at that point that all the electors in all of the states will be gathering. Now, obviously, with time changes, the Eastern time zone has already voted. Central time zone will be voting here in just a few minutes. But that's the process by which we've been using, as far as I know, since the beginning, for the gathering of and casting the votes of elector for the Electoral College. These votes then will be gathered and brought to the Capitol, and they will be certified in January for the election. So that's the process by which the election happens. We often remember just the date of election on November 5 and think that that's the final process. That's when the people have their say in choosing electors who then gather today to cast their votes, and then those votes are certified in the Capitol. So thank you for your time and consideration as we wait the remaining few minutes until noon when we can cast our votes.
And as you just heard, it is now 11:55 a.m. and to coordinate, should I say, with the other electoral colleges around the United States. They each vote at noon, their time, in their time zone to cast their ballots. So that's what they're waiting on. So it is now 11:55 a.m. and at noon they will begin casting their ballots. It is not a long process, from what I understand. They will cast their ballots, and again, those ballots will go in sealed envelopes. As you heard the gentleman just say, that those envelopes will be unsealed by Vice President Kamala Harris, as she will preside over the U.S. Senate to officially certify the results of the November 11th. And that will happen on Monday, January 6th, and exactly 2 weeks later on Election Day. Inauguration Day, President-elect Donald Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance will be officially sworn in as the President and Vice President-elect, respectively. And Matthew, if you can pan over into the balcony, we do have a nice crowd here of those who have come to watch, and someone is advocating for hand counts and paper ballots, as the state of Louisiana, under Secretary of State Nancy Landry, who is presiding over these proceedings, he was advocating for paper ballots and hand counts, as the state of Louisiana will be putting out requests for proposals to purchase new voting machines. And this gentleman was holding up signs. One said paper ballots, the other one said hand counts. And security has asked him to put those signs up because obviously they don't want any type of protesting in any proceedings such as today. And I guess he was trying to get the attention of Secretary of State Nancy Landry. But he has sat down and they have put the signs away. So you never know what you're going to get when you get into a situation when politics are involved. But it is going peacefully, and that's what they want. Of course, a very secure Louisiana state capitol. And this is, of course, democracy at work, as this is how our presidential election works. And again, we want to congratulate Mr. Christian Gill of Patterson. He is the chairman of the Louisiana Electoral College of the Republican Party. And he had invited us to come and cover these proceedings due to the historical nature of the election, as President-elect Donald Trump, besides Grover Cleveland, I think back in the 1800s, was the only former president that was elected again to serve another term, to come back to the White House and serve that term. So it is historical. And as he will serve as the 47th president beginning on Monday, January 20th, which is a month from this Friday, Inauguration Day. And so Christian had, you can see him, he's actually about to walk up now to begin the proceedings of them casting their ballots. But he had asked us to come and cover this, to bring this to you, Democracy at Work. It's not about the candidate. It's not about the winner for us. We just want to show you what happens here. And he told us they usually didn't attract media attention. Well, we have several media outlets here today. Got TV, and of course us, online TV. We've got print media. At least one other media outlet is streaming it live, a Baton Rouge TV station. So it's quite the ordeal here. A lot of children and youth here to witness this. It's a learning experience. Brian and I brought both of our sons. Braden is here with me. Matthew is here. He is our camera guy, doing a great job. Thank you for their hard work running around the state capitol, getting our equipment ready. And if all goes as planned, we will be able to speak with Christian Gill, the chairman of the Louisiana Republican Electoral College, immediately following the proceedings. We should be getting close. It is 11:50. It is now 12 o'clock, so they're about to begin casting their ballots. And once again, these ballots will be placed into sealed envelopes, will be sent to Washington, D.C., as Vice President Kamala Harris will unseal them to certify the election vote, or the results of the election on Monday, January 6th at the U.S. Capitol. She will preside over the proceedings of the U.S. Senate and to officially certify the results of the Electoral College. And then just 2 weeks later, former President and President-elect Donald Trump to be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States, and then J.D. Vance as the 50th Vice President of the United States. So we should be getting underway soon. And they're waiting until noon to coordinate with other state capitals around the United States, as electoral colleges throughout the country cast their votes at 12 o'clock in their own time zone. As the gentleman mentioned, those on the East Coast have already cast their ballots, and now those in the Central time zone are now going to be casting their ballots. And all electoral colleges, from what I understand, are casting their ballots today. And here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're having, or not us, but they're having some situations with the reporting of the data stream that's coming today. We will probably be another additional 5 minutes into this. As per the Constitution, the electors meet at 12. We don't have the exact vote like that. So they
All right, here we go, another delay. That's how government works, Matthew. Delays. So apparently they're having some type of difficulty with some data. Want to get this right, don't we, Matthew? Want to get this right. Hey, Brian.
Everybody.
Apparently they're trying to get some information correct.
Again, we're probably going to be another 5 minutes due to some data streaming issues with the technology that's currently being used right now. So if you didn't get I'm sorry if you weren't able to hear me earlier. Thank you.
Technology at its finest. I mean, hey, even the government has issues with technology, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So they sure. We are streaming to a different platform. That's why we're streaming to our own personal platform or the KQKI platform. They're going to. So they are having. I'm speaking to a security officer here in the Senate chamber, and they are trying to stream their the proceedings. Yes,
They're actually having issues.
yes, yeah.
So that's interesting. We don't feel so bad.
No, we don't. We all have issues, and so they're having issues streaming the proceedings, maybe to other state capitals or wherever it needs to be streamed. And I'm going to go ahead and talk to the lady, Brian, if you can kind of explain what's going on.
Yeah, they're just trying, I believe, to get their issues resolved. You can see Christian Gill is standing, and I think they're just trying to get some issues resolved, and it's kind of nice, I guess, because they're coming to us.
Yes, they are.
To ask some questions of whatnot.
She actually just got my business card and is going to the back so they can possibly pull up our live stream.
Okay. All right.
So
Gotcha.
there you go. So very interesting day here.
Yeah,
What
very
an
much so.
Yeah, what an honor for us for them to need to use our stream. But we just make ourselves available. And Brian, I was saying how it's not about the candidate to us. It's about the democracy and how a democracy works.
Absolutely.
That's why we're here today. And again, want to thank Chairman Christian Gill of the Louisiana Republican Electoral College. Congratulations to him first as being elected again as a chairman. And then he contacted me a few weeks ago and asked us to come and cover this because they usually don't have a lot of media coverage.
Right.
Well, today is a different situation here. There are a lot of media here.
A lot of media. You look across this room,
Mm-hmm.
and probably the most we've seen in a while.
Right, I think so. The Capitol is looking really nice, decorated for Christmas. It's beautiful in here, and of course, you can tour the Capitol anytime. A lot of history here. To look around and see, of course, Huey P. Long is buried here in the front. The observation deck on top. I believe it's 22 stories, if I'm not
It's pretty up there.
22 to 24 stories, the tallest.
It's pretty tall.
Yeah, tallest state capitol in the United States. We are in the Senate chambers today, where the Senate conducts their business. And
Now, what are we waiting on right now, Brent?
they are trying to get that data streaming. They're having issues streaming wherever they need to stream to.
Okay.
He's calling it data streaming. They're having technical issues streaming. They had come to us a few minutes ago.
Yeah,
One of the security.
to get the link, right?
Right. Well, she was asking. They didn't know why we were able to see us stream, and they weren't.
Oh.
They were trying to watch it on a TV in the back, and that's what I was doing, explaining to her. I'm like, no, we're going to our own platform.
Right.
So I gave her my business card. She was asking for my card so they can possibly pull our stream up on YouTube so they can see it. Not sure if it's for recording purposes, where they're streaming to, if they have to send this to Washington, D.C. I have no idea, so maybe we'll be part of history.
There you go.
Government at work. Brayden just told me that she actually asked him for his business card, but people kind of get us confused. We're kind of, you see me, you see him. We do look alike.
And I didn't bring business cards, so.
I bring them everywhere. I do see Mr. Roger Villery. He was the chairman.
Yeah, where is he at?
Who's that?
Mr. Roger?
He is, I just
Did I
saw him
miss
walk
him?
across. Yeah, you did. He just walked across. He is an alternate
Okay.
elector, but Mr. Villery, he was the chairman of the Republican Party for
Yeah.
several years. He led the Republican Party. The state of Louisiana, he is now an alternate elector. Of course, there are a total of 8 electors, 2 alternates. There is 1 elector for each congressional district. We have 6 congressional districts, and then there was 1 at-large member for each Senate district, and that would be Mr. Christian Gill. He is an at-large elector for one of the Senate districts, and then he was elected again as the chairman of the Electoral College for the Republican Party. He brought several members of his family, his wife, and some of his children. Dressed very nice for the occasion.
Yeah, very much. And of course, we have some in attendance up towards the top.
Yep.
Back.
Yep.
Of the chamber.
Sure. You probably missed the protest up there a few minutes ago.
Oh, did I?
There was a gentleman holding some signs. He was advocating for hand counts and paper ballots.
Okay.
And, of course, the state is going to be purchasing new voting machines. And as you can imagine, that's not a cheap process. And it's going to cost several millions. And Secretary of State Nancy Landry, who oversees our elections, her office is overseeing that process. They had, I believe, they were in the process.
Did they remove that person? Or?
They just asked him to put the signs down and sit down. And he was just waving the signs. I think he was probably trying to get Secretary Landry's attention. That's Mr. Villery right there. He is walking towards the middle. Of course, he...
Brady not doing a good job.
No, I'm not. Excuse me. I was trying to find him. I usually don't operate camera, but I took over real quick. Sorry, Matt. But, of course, he led the Republican Party, and I do see...
see those buttons?
Yeah.
Or the knobs?
Yes, I see those.
Works a little better. You know, I'm not going to say anything because I did the same thing.
There you go.
Just before you did it. That's how I knew.
It's a small screen. I was trying to keep up with him. Of course, I've seen several elected officials here, representatives of the governor's office, who have come in to witness the proceedings.
Yeah.
And I do see.
Good afternoon.
Here we go.
We're going to reconvene this meeting. The live stream's still not working, but we have enough people here live streaming to record it. At this time, we will do a roll call of the electors for their vote for President and Vice President of the United States. So first, I call on myself. Who do I vote for? I vote for Donald J. Trump and DJ Vance for President and Vice President of the United States. Next, Randolph Bozette. How do you vote?
Donald J. Trump and DJ Vance. J.D. Vance.
Huh? Raymond Griffith Jr.
Chairman, I vote Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, and J.D. Vance, Vice President.
Lloyd Harsh.
Chairman, I vote for Donald J. Trump for president and J.D. Vance for vice president.
Luke Dupree.
Chairman, I vote for Donald J. Trump for President of the United States and J.D. Vance for Vice President of the United States.
Matthew K.
Chairman, I proudly vote for Donald J. Trump for President of the United States and J.D. Vance for Vice President of the United States.
Philip Bagwell.
Mr. Chairman, I vote for Donald J. Trump for President and J.D. Vance for Vice President.
Carl Benedict.
Chairman, I vote for Donald J. Trump for President and J.D. Vance.
Electors now, we must formally sign the ballots for President and Vice President of the United States.
it appears they are now counting the ballots, tabulating and putting them together, which obviously would be a unanimous vote for President-elect Donald J. Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance. They were signing their ballots, and they're going to sign the envelopes, and they will be sent to Washington, D.C. We are almost at the end of the proceedings, but they were probably signing the ballots and the envelopes. And, of course, this is a new process to us. We've never witnessed it yet, and they will be sent to Washington, D.C., where they will be unsealed and certified on January 6th by Vice President Kamala Harris, as she will preside over the U.S. Senate as president. And then exactly 2 weeks later to the day, President-elect Donald J. Trump, and of course former president, he's the 45th president, he will become the 47th president, and then J.D. Vance will become the 50th vice president exactly exactly a month from this Friday on January 20th. So get through the holidays, a lot of changes coming up in our government.
Just to clarify, earlier I mispronounced J.D. Vance's name. So again, I just want to reiterate my support for J.D. Vance for Vice President of the United States. I would like to ask Elector Bazet if he would like to stand to clarify his vote.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to clarify my vote.
Thank you, sir. Next, I would like to sign the envelopes provided by the staff.
And now they are signing the envelopes, and where that will hold the ballots. And of course, that will be sent to Washington, D.C. to be certified, to officially certify the election of Donald J. Trump and J.D. Vance. Very interesting process here. Democracy at work. You know, we see the election, we see the results that happened on November 5th. You know, if you got the popular vote, which he won by about 4 to 5 million votes. Of course, it's the Electoral College that officially elects him as president, and other electoral colleges around the United States are also voting today in state capitals, and at noon during their time zone. Of course, those in the Eastern time zone have already voted, and those in the Central time zone are currently casting their ballots. Just here in the Louisiana State Capitol, the Senate chamber, this is one of the last items on the agenda before they adjourn. Yep, they're signing the envelopes, and they're going to adjourn. I can tell you that Chairman Gill, he did not want any politics today. He just wanted to stick to the business, and no resolutions, no political speeches, none of that. And but he, of course, we appreciate his invitation to come and bring you live coverage of the proceedings today. And he told me they usually don't have a lot of media coverage, but today we've got several media outlets here live streaming. Got TV, print, of course. We'd be included in TV, wouldn't we be, Matthew?
TV, radio.
Yeah, we're both TV and radio. Yep. And of course, the earlier Secretary of State Nancy Landry was started overseeing the proceedings, presiding over the proceedings, and then turned over to Chairman Gill. And she made her way earlier around the chamber and greeting those in attendance. Definitely more in attendance than I expected. I just didn't know what to expect. But we have the balcony is pretty much full, and the sides of the chamber are pretty much full. Family members of the electors. We've got the Boy Scouts are here. Of course, they said the pledge earlier. I want to thank the Secretary of State's Communications Office for accommodating us. Those with the state capitol here, of course, making sure security is very, very tight and efficient. Now that I've seen this portion, Matt, I really want to go see what happens on January 6th. I did see the last one partially, but I do want to, now that we've seen this process, I definitely want to witness to see how that works as well. This is all about America. This is how America works. It doesn't happen fast. It's a slow, methodical process, but they want to make sure it's right. No room for error when you're electing a president.
By the people, for the people.
That's right, by the people, for the people. And hopefully we'll be able to speak to Chairman Gill in just a few moments. As soon as the proceedings are over, he will try to make his way over to us, and so we can speak to him, see what this day means to him and how it works.
That concludes the official business of the 2024 Louisiana Electoral College. Before we adjourn, I want to take a note. Secretary Landry invites you to a reception at the old state capitol immediately following the adjournment of the Electoral College. Parking is free of charge at the surface lot next to the old governor's mansion. The parking lot is located at the corner of North Boulevard and Royal Street. The entrance to the lot is on Royal Street, and the lot on second block, walk to the old state capitol. Can I get a motion to adjourn the meeting? Do I have a second? It has been moved and seconded that we adjourn the 2024 Electoral College meeting. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
All right, there you have it. It's official. The Louisiana Republican Electoral College has officially voted, elected President-elect Donald J. Trump as the 47th President of the United States, and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance as the 50th Vice President of the United States. As we mentioned, these ballots will go on to Washington, D.C. To be certified on January 6th, the U.S. Senate. Of course, Vice President Harris, in her role as President of the Senate, will preside over those proceedings. And then exactly 2 weeks later, President-elect Donald Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance will be officially sworn in on Inauguration Day on Monday, January 20th, which is 1 month from this Friday. Hopefully we can see Christian Gill. He's supposed to come over and speak to us real quick. And he was going to try to get away.
We didn't have one woman up on that. Say something about that.
Looks like Christian Gill is about to take a picture or something, and hopefully he'll make his way here. After they take this picture, we'll see if he makes his way here before we wrap up our coverage. But we do want to thank you for joining us today from the Senate chamber of the Louisiana State Capitol, as the Louisiana Republican Electoral College has officially cast their ballots for Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to become President and Vice President of the United States, to be sworn in next month on January 20th, on a Monday, exactly a month from this Friday. So they will take the oath of office. And of course, big changes. The Republicans will retain control of the House. The Republicans will take control of the Senate. Mike Johnson from Shreveport, Congressman Mike Johnson will, of course, retain his role as the Speaker of the House. It's very, very unique for Louisiana to have the two top spots in the House of Representatives, as we have, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and then the majority leader, we've got Steve Scalise. So looks like he's going to be tied up for a while, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up our coverage. We want to thank you again for joining us for our live coverage from the Louisiana State Capitol as the Republican Electoral College voted today, along with other electoral colleges around the United States, to officially elect Donald J. Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance. That's going to wrap it up for us. I'm Brady Borrell with Brian Protich, Braden Borrell, and Matthew Protich. Thank you for joining us for KQKI News, your local news and sports leader.